with Murray Walker and Steve Ryder.
For the second time, the Esso British Touring Car Championship saw action on the fast but confined streets of Birmingham. 44.5 miles around the city centre, one of the key races of the championship, especially if the 7-race domination of Rob Gravitt could be broken. Gravitt once again on pole position alongside Tim Harvey, who claimed his front row place in the dying moments of qualifying. Row 2, Laurence Bristow and a rather disappointed Andy Rouse, Sean Walker and Graham Good row 3, Mike Newman and Amato Ferrari row 4. In the 2-litre class, John Cleland in the Vauxhall Cavalier fastest, and Frank Sittner would start directly behind Cleland, another opportunity for their intense rivalry to show itself. Gravitt led the field round to set up for what was going to prove the first of 2 starts, and the fierce competition that this Birmingham race always generated, plus the close proximity of the Armco, was about to claim some victims. Looking back from Gravitt's pole position car, Rouse on the left, Bristow on the right. Rouse, who'd produced a demon start from a similar position in the last round at Brands Hatch. And on this occasion, Rouse again powered through from the second row, but behind them, Laurence Bristow and Graham Good had made contact, and their stricken cars would force the red flags out and the abandonment of the start. But the message took a while getting through to the other side of the circuit. Rouse, with Harvey behind, is hard on the power, and as Gravitt slows under the red flag, contact is made. And Rob Gravitt is somewhat aggrieved.
They put the red flags up, called the roundabout, and I was going slow. Rouse came up behind and wanged up the back really hard. He's done a lot of damage to the back, and then hit me again, and they went past me with a red flag. I mean, the race has been stopped, waving his fist.
A big dent for Gravitt Sierra, but he'd be lining up for the restart. Laurence Bristow wouldn't. His car took the main force of the incident, colliding with the barrier. Graham Good, who claimed he'd been nudged by Sean Walker, almost got going again, only to be foiled by an electrical problem. So 2 cars missing for the restarted race, which is described by Murray Walker.
With Laurence Bristow's wrecked Ford cleared from the circuit and Graham Good a non-starter, the grid reforms for the second start. Rob Gravitt on the right in his 8th pole position alongside Tim Harvey. Andy Rouse alone on row 2. Sean Walker, row 3, ahead of Amato Ferrari and Mike Newman. And in row 5, the 2 top 2 litres, Kurt Luby and John Cleland. 18 laps to go around Birmingham. And it's Rob Gravitt nosing away at the start. Into the left hand, it's Gravitt, then it's Harvey. Rouse in 3rd position, Sean Walker is 4th. Around Holtz, and Gravitt goes through on the inside to take Harvey. Looking back from Gravitt's car at Harvey 2nd, behind him is Andy Rouse. Through the kink, building up to 160 miles an hour. Peter Barwell Hill. Rouse is challenging Harvey and he's going through. Andy Rouse goes up into 2nd place. Harvey gesticulates. He's very unhappy about something. Down through the gears from 4th to 3rd, from 3rd to 2nd, into the long left Halfords corner. Rob Gravitt leading in the white Sierra. Then it's Andy Rouse. We're 3rd with Tim Harvey. Now down Belgrave Middleway, up through the gears. 3rd, 4th, 5th. Tim Harvey pointing at his turbo gauge. 1 finger. Maybe that means he's down to 1 bar boost. It should be 2. Anyway, into Ferodo corner. Out of it, Gravitt leads. Rouse 2nd, Harvey 3rd. Sean Walker is 4th. In the blue Sierra, it's Amato Ferrari 5th, being challenged by Mike Newman. Behind them, the 2 litres, Luby, Cleland, all looking back at Tim Harvey. No, it's Andy Rouse, of course. Andy Rouse in 2nd position, coming up right behind Rob Gravitt, past the multi-storey car park at 100 miles an hour. And there are the 2 litres. Kurt Luby in the BMW is leading John Cleland in the Vauxhall. Terrific drive by Luby already. He got away beautifully at the start, driving for the BMW Junior team. 7 times a kart champion, twice a Formula 4 champion. He's won 3 of the British Touring Car Championship 2-litre rounds this year. And behind him, John Cleland, the 1989 British champion in a Vauxhall Astra. He's won 3 times this year and he's challenging Luby. But Luby keeps him back, tucks in, goes round the left-hander. John Cleland tight up behind him, but Luby pulling away a bit, and there in third position in the 2 litre class, it's Godfrey Hall. Now we are with Frank Sidner, fourth in the 2 litres. Just behind us, it's Jeff Allen. Now there's Godfrey Hall. Comes from Sutton Coldfield. From Nottingham, it's Frank Sidner. We're riding with Sidner. They both started from row 8 on the grid, and Godfrey Hall had a demon start, and it's paying off. Ex-Formula 3 driver. There's Godfrey Hall ahead. Now the right-hander, accelerating up to about 140 miles an hour in these 2 litre cars, 275 brake horsepower. Through Halfords, past the mosque on the return road, into Ferodo. So, it's Godfrey Hall, third in the 2 litres, Sidner that we're with, Jeff Allen just behind us, down Rover Road. Godfrey Hall's only got to hold his line to stay ahead, but Frank Sidner's going for it. He's got more power and more speed than Godfrey Hall, but he just can't get past up to the multi-storey car park now. So it's Hall, number 77 in the black BMW, then Sidner, and here, ahead, third, fighting for his position, it's Tim Harvey, number 3, ahead of Sean Walker in 4th position. And if Tim Harvey has got a boost problem, he's doing very well indeed to stay ahead of Sean Walker. But now, Sean is starting to challenge. So, out of the kick, Tim Harvey. Now into the quick bit, and this is Sean Walker's opportunity. And Tim Harvey gesticulates, and that looks like a gesticulation of despair to me. Be a better driver, it says on the front of his car, and I'm doing my best, says Tim Harvey, but it's not good enough. Sean Walker goes through, up into 3rd position, into Halfords. And now, as he goes down the Belgrave little way, it'll give Sean Walker the opportunity to pull away, because with his turbo boost working, he can streak ahead. So, Rob Gravitt leads, Andy Rouse 2nd, Sean Walker that we're looking at is 3rd. Behind him is Tim Harvey. Into Ferodo. Walker is consolidating his 3rd place. Up Rover Road, there are the leaders. Gravitt, Andy Rouse. Between them, they've won all 9 rounds so far. Rob Gravitt's won 7 of them. This looks like being number 8. They're lapping at over 85 miles an hour. 34-year-old Rob Gravitt from Maidenhead, where he runs an Auto Factors, is the revelation of 1990. Andy Rouse behind him, 4 times British champion. But here his car and tyre combination seems inferior to Gravitt's. And look at this battle for the 2 litres. Sidner's going for it. He's past Hall. He's up to 3rd in the class. Kurt Luby's ahead of him still, and John Cleland. We're in car with Sidner. Now, Cleland is out of sight. He's 5 seconds ahead. So Fearless Frank has really got to fly. Past the multi-storey car park, up to Cavendish Corner. Onto the Honda turn. This is it. 3 BMWs ahead of them. Kurt Luby leading the class in his BMW. John Cleland right behind him in the Vauxhall. 2nd, and up front, there is Andy Rouse, 2nd. Lights ablaze, chasing Rob Gravitt. And there's a bit of a gap now. Andy Rouse. Where is Rob Gravitt? He's missing. That's Andy Rouse. And there is Gravitt. He's out. He's out. So Andy Rouse now leads. Sean Walker is in 2nd place. And there is Gravitt's Trackstar team with an anxious Mike Smith on the right in sunglasses. Looking for Gravitt. So, what has happened to Rob Gravitt?
We got on the radio and said the engine just blew up. We don't know why, don't know what caused it, but you know, we could afford to drop a race, everybody else has. It's the best 11 of 13 scores, so we're not too downhearted. We're still leading the championship, so we shouldn't be too unhappy.
But Godfrey Hall in the black BMW is a bit unhappy. He's 4th in class now. Frank Sidner's passed him, and Jeff Allen right behind him is challenging. 275 brake horsepower, each of these cars, and that's Chris Hodgetts in the Vauxhall, 6th, and he's catching the 2 BMWs in front of him. And Allen is going for it. Jeff Allen comes out from behind Godfrey Hall, goes up into 4th position in the 2 litre class. And Godfrey Hall is right on the ragged edge. Look at him sliding, and that is Frank Sidner ahead. And here is race leader Andy Rouse, lapping Nick Whale from Ulster in the 2-litre BMW, the white and green car. Andy can take his time about getting past Nick, because Andy Rouse has now got a terrific lead. Nick has gesticulated to Andy to go past. The blue flags have been waved by the marshals. Andy goes through on his way for a win. But there's still going to be a massive gap in the championship between Rob Gravitt and Andy Rouse. In car now with Tim Harvey. He's waving somebody through. He's unhappy. He's slowing. And it's Mike Newman. In the black Ford Sierra Cosworth, Mike Newman goes through into third position. Mike back into racing after an illness, and it's a bad day for Tim Harvey's team. Laurence Bristow, his teammate, non-started with a destroyed car. Tim Harvey, that we're riding with now, down to fourth in a race that he was optimistic about winning, starting from the front row. Well, there is Mike Newman, pulling away all the time now from Tim Harvey. Getting on towards the end of the race, and there in the white Mitsubishi, Mark Hales, 14th overall, John Clark behind him, Sean Walker in the background in the FAI car is second overall, and he's about to lap the Mitsubishi and the BMW. But look at this, number 70, Chris Hodgetts had caught and passed Godfrey Hall. Godfrey's fighting back in the black BMW, back to 5th in the 2-litre class, and the Swedish woman driver, Nettan Lindgren, is right with them. So, there is Godfrey Hall, number 77. Behind him, number 70, Chris Hodgetts. They're coming up now, lapping Ray Arms in the Honda Civic, touring in. Hodgetts trying again, down the Belgrave Middleway, past Ray Arms, into the right-hander at Ferodo, the double right-hander. In the background, you'll see Nick Whale, there he is. Now, down Rover Road. Chris Hodgetts from Redditch in the Vauxhall, number 70, racing nearly 30 years, double British champion. And Godfrey Hall is driving an absolutely superb race. Chris Hodgetts isn't going to let him go. There's Andy Rouse, well ahead, of course, as the BMW, Vauxhall BMW battle comes down to Honda turn. The left, accelerating away, out of the exit. Through to complete the lap, and now they're coming down to Holtz. And Hodgetts is trying to take Hall on the outside. He's driving around the outside. Hall goes across, they make contact. Hall goes into the Armco. Hodgetts goes through to 5th in class. It's a BMW leading. Kurt Luby, magnificent drive. There he goes. And in second place, it's John Cleland in the Vauxhall. There he is. But Frank Sittner, and we're with Sittner now, the 1988 British champion in his BMW M3, is catching John Cleland. You can see him ahead. There is Sittner going through. There's the ProDrive team, and they're looking to see what the battle is, and this is it. Frank Sittner, third in class, catching John Cleland's Vauxhall. And John Cleland's tyres are clearly shot. On the corners, he's in trouble. On the straights, he's going well. Kurt Luby, of course, is still leading the 2 litres. BMW leads, Vauxhall second. We're riding with Frank Sittner's BMW in third position in the class. And Frank Sittner is catching the Vauxhall hand over fist into Halford's. Now, watch how Cleland's car handles as he goes out of the right-hander. He's on the straight now, he can use the power, front-wheel drive, and here is Andy Rouse, almost home, to win for the third time in 1990 by a massive 22 seconds from Sean Walker second, Mike Newman third, but the fastest lap to Rob Gravitt at 93 miles an hour.
Comfortable success for Andy Rouse, but behind, this is the scene. The battle in Cleland and Sittner had finished against the barrier, and some very angry words were about to be exchanged. Cleland in a heavily damaged car, furiously extricating himself through the passenger window. And the blame for the incident was not entirely clear. In this replay, on board with Sittner, rapidly gaining on Cleland with his tyres barely keeping him on the road. And Sittner makes what seems to be an audacious dive for the corner, and the impact knocks out the onboard camera and puts them both out of the contest. But in slow motion, you can see how Cleland appears to lock up all 4 wheels on the approach to the corner, Black tyre marks there on the road, suggesting to Sytner that the opening might be there. But then Cleland gathers it up, regains the line, at which point Sytner finds it quite impossible to avoid the accident. Race victory to Andy Rouse, at last breaking the domination of Gravett. Sean Walker second, Mike Newman third, with Kurt Luby a splendid 2-litre winner, 6th overall. The championship, though, is surely heading to Gravett. Sytner doing himself no favours at Birmingham. 26-point lead for Gravett, and there are 3 rounds left.